Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today you join me on the outskirts of Holmfirth in West Yorkshire. Bit of a challenge today. I'm walking the full length of the River Holme. It's about 7.1 miles long, runs from Digley Reservoir all the way down through Holmfirth, Brockholes, New Mill and a few other villages down to the outskirts of Huddersfield where it joins the River Colne. My two criteria today: one, I've got to stick to footpaths as much as possible rather than busy roads, and two, I've got to try to stick to the course of the river as much as possible. Where these two criteria conflict, rule number one overrules. So yes, the river's 7.1 miles long, but in reality I think my route's going to be nearer 10 miles. But I am going to try and stick to as close to the river as possible. So I have also brought my camera with long lens and my binoculars, and I've set myself another bit of a challenge today: photograph 20 species of birds. So at the car park there was a pheasant in the field next to where I parked my car, so that's number one. And just on the banks of Digley Reservoir here there's an oyster catcher, so I managed to get that. So I'm up to two already. You can see some black-headed gulls over there, so I'm going to try and get a decent picture of them as well. There's two car parks at the start of the walk at Digley Reservoir, one at the north end which is in a bit of a quarry, and one at the south end. I've opted for the one at the south end. It's a little bit more exposed, so if anybody does decide to have a go at the van, it's a little bit more open, and it also gives me an extra couple of 100 metres to try and find a couple more bird species. So the pictures today aren't going to be the best because it is miserable, not so much light, and so they're just record shots. As you can see, it's a miserable day. Lots of drizzle, mizzle, mist in the air. In Scotland they've got a special word for that: dreich. So I've already got my waterproof pants on, got my waterproof jacket and an extra layer, flask of coffee, bottle of water. Travelling light today. I've not brought my stove. I am going to be going through one or two little villages so I can grab a brew at a petrol station or shop. This forecast, 70% chance of rain this afternoon, so I'm going to try and get this walk done before the rain comes in. Here we've got quite an impressive structure. It's the overflow for the water and the reservoir. So we'll put the what three words locations for the two car parks on the screen now. I have opted for the southern side one. At the end of the down wall at this junction, and we turn right down Bank Top Lane. And just at the top of Bank Top Lane there's these trees on the left hand side. There's all sorts knocking around in here, so I'm just going to see what pictures I can get. Now, I'm not expecting any award winning photographs today. The weather is rank, so they're going to be dark, might be a little bit grainy, and I'm not a fan of photographing birds on branches with sky in the background. I like a nice clean background, so these are going to be more record shots than proper wildlife photography ones. So a couple of 100 metres from the top of Bank Top Lane, I'm looking for a footpath on the right. Down into the woods. It can be a little bit slippery underfoot here, so just watch your footing. This is a lovely section of the walk. Got the river down in the valley below me to the right, woodland everywhere, and I've heard nuthatch and a greater spotted woodpecker, but they don't count because I haven't photographed them. What I am hoping to see down on the river, somewhere between here and Holmfirth, maybe beyond, is dipper. That would be nice. There is a little bit of conflicting information on the internet about the River Holme. Some sources suggest that it comes from Digley Reservoir, and some sources suggest it starts down at Holmebridge. On the Ordnance Survey map, this section of the river from Digley Reservoir down to Holmebridge doesn't have a name, but on Google Maps it's shown as Digley Beck. So, just to make sure, I've opted for the longer route from Digley Reservoir. There were a lot of mills on the River Holme, textile mills, and I've already seen evidence in the woods here, brickworks and dams. Coming down into the centre of Holmebridge village. Got a cricket field on our right. There won't be any games on at this time of the year. And we've got a lovely church there. I think it's called St David's Church. A little wren just appeared in the bushes, sat on a wall nicely for me. Managed to get a nice decent shot of it. Bit of a clean background, so hopefully put that on the screen now. And as we come out of the woods onto the main road, we've got a pub here called the Pickled Pheasant. They do breakfast, brunches and lunches. So we are at the bottom of Digley Road into the centre of Holmebridge, and the obvious route would be to turn left and walk along the road towards Holmfirth. However, that's rule one, we're not going to do that. So we're going to take a little bit of a detour and try and find a back roads and some footpaths to get around it. And here we've got our first crossing over the River Holme. That's going up towards Digley Reservoir and actually joins down there with a confluence or river outlet from some reservoirs further up, Brownhill Reservoir and Ramsden Reservoir. And our route takes us past the church and we're going to turn left here, heading up towards Yate Holme Reservoir. And at this first junction we're going to turn left. We're not heading up towards Ramsden Reservoir. And that's the outlet from Brownhill and Ramsden Reservoir. And here we have Dobdyke. It is one of the first feeds that feeds into the River Holme. So there are quite a few industrial sections on this river, which means it's not possible to walk alongside it all the way. So yes, I've come away from the river for the first time, where rule 1 applied. So we've arrived at the bottom of Dob Lane and we're just crossing over the River Holme again. There's an information board there, lots of information about the old textile mills and Victorian era where children were working in the mills. Got a slight detour now and then we're going to drop back onto the banks of the river. And these are the workers' cottages, the people that worked in the mills. And here we have Hinchcliffe Mills. It's one of the old mills. It's up for sale, needs some renovation, could be some nice flats that. And now we've got a lovely section where we're actually walking alongside the river, probably for a couple of miles to Holmfirth. And here we have evidence of a sluice gate which would let water from the River Holme into this channel here which would go and feed one of the mills. So I'm through Holmebridge, past Hinchcliffe Mills, and I'm now walking alongside the river. This is where I would expect to see dipper, kingfisher, heron, so I'm going to keep my eyes peeled on this section. Sections of this walk can be a little bit slippy, so boots are recommended. I've got my waterproof trousers on already, waterproof jacket in my rucksack, and I've got an extra layer just in case. Just approaching another mills, got their own pond here, and private fishing. So just in case there's any fishermen, I'm going to keep the noise down a little bit here, no talking. And on the pond here we've got some mallard coming over, probably want feeding. And over in the distance we've got a male goosander. Walk alongside the pond, and you get to this fork in the path here, we're going to go right down towards the river. There's a great charity in Holmfirth called the River Holme Connections. And they do quite a lot of work alongside the River Holme. They've developed a bird feeding area down at Holmfirth. They've been putting up a load of bird boxes along the route. They're constantly clearing out invasive species like Himalayan balsam and Japanese knotweed, and generally looking after the health and maintenance of the river. So well done, River Holme Connections. So it's like this section of the bank is washed away. They've nicely put some steps in and this little footway. The Riverside Way is fairly well signposted so far, and in the middle of the sign, dipper. See if we can get one of them. Then literally a few seconds after I said it'd be nice to see a dipper, two appeared. Nice to get some decent shots. Could have been better. And the runner came past. She did apologise, and she knew I was trying to photograph stuff. I'm not here to spoil anybody's fun. Quite chuffed with that. Managed to get a couple of decent pictures of the dipper, and in reality that's the bird I was after today, so happy days. So we're back into a residential area, and a lovely little path there takes us down the side of these houses. So we're right next to the River Holme, coming through a little bit of a residential area. However, we're now approaching a road. The river runs alongside the road. There's no alternative. I am going to have to walk on a road section. It contradicts rule 1. However, there's no alternative. It's only about half a mile section, so I'm just going to have to bear it. At the road we turn right towards Holmfirth, and on the trail you've seen one of them. If you do like a drink, there's another pub here, Finley's. It might be a restaurant as well, somewhere to get, plenty of places to get something to eat. So there is a footpath sign here. I have checked it on the map. It takes me well away from the river, right up a hill. So I'm just going to carry on the road. Here we are entering the village of Holmfirth, made famous by the last of the summer wine. We're back over the river. Up there, Nora Batty's house. Hey up, Compo's house, Yorkshire's finest lovable road. Lived at this address 1973 to 1999. So here in the middle of Holmfirth, there's a plaque here. Height of the flood caused by the bursting of Digley Reservoir, February the 5th, 1852. Well, I'm 6 foot tall. That plaque's at least 10 foot high. So a wall of water coming down that high must have been terrifying. I think there was 81 people killed in that flood. Digley Reservoir is further up from where we started at Digley Reservoir, and that's the one that the dam wall collapsed. And back over the bridge, down to the feeding area down here. Just stopped for a coffee at the bird feeding place in Holmfirth. There's nothing but mallard really. The stock dove dropped in, but robin, it was a robin. I'm carrying my journey on, too many people about for my liking, lots of litter around, and we're just starting to see evidence of litter in the river. Top of the steps, we're turning left, and we're looking for this green sign down towards Holmfirth Cricket Club. So we're about 3.5 miles into our journey. There are plenty of coffee shops, supermarkets, snack bars, places to get something to eat and drink in Holmfirth. Too many people around for my liking, so I had a quick coffee by the bird feeding station and then moved on rather sharply. Not my cup of tea really. We've got quite a nice mural here by the Honley Youth Northern Mural Company. Yeah, I played football here a couple of times, and the rule was if you kicked the ball into the river, you went and got it. At the White Bridge, keep right of the river, and we're looking for a footpath heading up through the woods. So from Sands Lane we've climbed up a little bit of a hill through the woods, and we've come across this flat area. It is actually an old disused railway line that went from Huddersfield to Holmfirth. That is long gone. There is no rail network to Holmfirth at all. The nearest one's probably Brockholes. I'm out of sight of the river again, but I can still hear it. A lot of time for a bloody car alarm to go off. At the end of the railway line, there was a big barrier here. Beyond the barrier we're going to be hanging a left and down to a little village called Thongsbridge. So it's just approaching the road at Thongsbridge. Here we want to be doing a quick right and then not far and then a left past some houses. Here we want to be hanging a left. There is a footpath sign that points in the right direction. And down here. Just past these houses it turns into a footpath. The last time I came down here though there was a load of bird feeders out. I'm not seeing any feeders at the moment. Our route, we do not want to be dropping down into Thongsbridge Cricket Club. Instead, the footpath just to the right before we get to the entrance of the cricket club. Just managed to grab a quick shot of a blackbird on a mossy wall. I'm not sure how good it's going to come out, but if anything it's a record shot towards my target of 20 today. Back into some woodland, and it is predominantly holly here. I'm getting a little bit further away from the river. I can just about make it out with the noise of the traffic, but it should be bending back round towards me and I should be able to see it very soon. And then right on cue, just make it out through the trees, coming back towards me. Over that little bridge, turn left on this footpath, and again there's another sign there. And again I must admit I've been quite impressed with the signage for the Riverside Way. Regular posts and signs, very difficult to get lost on this route. There was another little robin singing really loudly back there. Managed to get a quick shot before it flew off. I'm not sure how good my images are going to be today. It is dark and dingy. I'm back over the River Holme. So we've just had a short section on the road over the bridge, and now we're back onto a decent path. We're just approaching and walking through Brockholes camping and caravan site. Never stayed here, it looks very pleasant. It looks like they've got some camping pods and electric hookups and proper camping spaces. Toilet block. There's the reception. And in the top field we've got some lovely looking camping pods. And that thing up there looks quite interesting. Flue coming out the top of it, so it's got a log burner. So a short detour around the caravan site. It does look very pleasant, it does look very clean, lots of facilities. And them camping pods look very interesting. Near a nut hatch somewhere, and then we're back onto the river. When we get to this bridge here, just past the campsite, we're looking for this gap here, and we're sticking to the left of the river. We're now into Hagwood. There was a bit of an information board back there, and the bird on the sign shows kingfisher. About 10 minutes ago I did pass a dog walker, and he asked me if I'd seen anything, and he tells me that he regularly sees kingfisher down here, so that would be a nice one to see, so eyes peeled. Yeah, and even though it's early February, there's still a strong smell from the wild garlic. According to the sign, fairies live here. And as we come up these steps here onto this little road, Smithy Place Lane, we could walk on the main road there. That's against rule number 1. So instead, we're going to find a footpath, and this just takes us quite a distance away from the river. but much more pleasant walk. So turn left on Smithy Place Lane, and after about 50 metres looking for a footpath sign on the right. Up these steep steps, and now we're some distance away from the river. Definitely can't see it, and I can't even hear it. And luckily the footpath has kept the same route through the housing estate, and rightly so. Yeah, but it was a shame because these fields here was a good place to see barn owls on an evening. Yeah, and at this point I've completely lost sight and sound of the River Holme. So I'm just following a footpath that runs parallel to it. It's over to my right, 200 or 300 metres away, and approaching a very busy road, the 616. That goes from Huddersfield to Holmfirth. So we've got a short section on this road now. I find a footpath opposite, cross over. So at the 616 I turn right, to 20-30 metres, crossed over, and we're back on the riverside trail again. And I follow this road all the way down to the next village called Honley. It's a lot better than that busy road down there. I'll get past the houses on Eastgate. And there's the river again. Just over this bridge there is a garage petrol station, so you could go there for a coffee or top up on some snacks, but we are continuing without the slight detour back on the riverside way. We're now on a stretch from Honley towards a place called Magdale, and I do know for a fact that there's been kingfisher seen down there regularly. And Magdale, it's one of the feeds into the River Holme. So when we get down there we'll stop for 5 minutes and see what we can see. So we've just arrived at Magdale. Lovely carved little bench here. In fact, someone's put bird food on it. It's just worth a quick detour up to this pond here. So there we've got the River Holme, and we've got Magdale joining it. So after Magdale I had another conflict between Rule 1 and 2. So rather than following the A616 busy road, which runs basically parallel with the river, I've come away from the river. I'm heading uphill. It's going to take me some distance away. It's onto a quiet road, then a footpath down through some woods. So yeah, it's going to be much quieter. A little bit longer distance. Keeps me away from the roads, but much quieter. Before we get to this building site on the left, I'm going to hang a right to this footpath down here through the woods. Just about make out the river down in the valley below me. It's a lovely section of the walk this woodland is stunning. The River Holme, probably about 100 metres away from me down in the valley bottom. I've got nuthatch crawling over to my left. Very, very pleasant. Just had a look at the maps and I'm probably about 7.5 miles, so 3/4 of the way into this journey. And then just down here at the road, you want to hang a right and head down to a church. And we're back at the river. This is just a very quick slight detour from the route. Just wanted to come and have a look at this church. It's got Commonwealth war graves. So we don't need to go over there, we're just going to carry straight on. So after a quick visit to St Paul's Church, we'll carry on the road with the river to our right. And then from Armitage Bridge and St Paul's Church, carry on the road just past the entrance to the allotments. We're looking for a little footpath on the right. So there's a little bit of drizzle in the air, but not enough to justify getting me waterproof on yet. Just arriving at some fishing ponds over to the right. So we'll have a quick stop here and see what we can see. Grey heron. Another sign there for the Riverside Way. We're here at the Monkey Club, going a right, and then a left at the Armitage Bridge Cricket Club. I will take this path straight in front of us. So full disclosure, I actually have done this walk before. It's one of the routes on my website. It's got more detailed instructions, where to go left and right. So if you fancy doing this walk, visit bootroutes.com and have a look at the routes. So the river actually just goes around this cricket field. Just the other side of that field there. I can hear the river over to my right, and I should be back next to it very shortly. And here we are, back alongside the river. Just had a quick stop to photograph another male goosander. It may well have been the same one that was up by the pond earlier. So this is the last we're going to see of this river for about 15-20 minutes. This is an industrial estate here. We can't walk alongside the river, so we have to go round the industrial estate. Got a section on this road, and the first opportunity to get off it, I'll be taking it. So I've had to cross over. The footpath runs out on that side of the road. We're going under this viaduct, and then the road I want, just a little bit further on the right, takes me back down to the river. It sounds like there's a rugby game or a football game going on down there. So normally I should be heading down here. There's a road ahead closed sign. All the gates are closed and locked, and I can hear shouting down in the valley. So there's some sort of a private game going on. So it's going to have to be a little bit further on this road, a little bit further than I wanted. Heading down towards Lockwood on the outskirts of Huddersfield. In reality I probably got less than a mile left of this walk where it joins the River Colne. And as you can tell, I'm into a quite built up residential area now. So yeah, really looking forward to getting next to the river again and a little bit of peace. I'm here at Wood End. Back on the Riverside Way. It's not far to the end now. So, nearing the end of the journey. There's a bench here. I'm just going to have 5 minutes to check through my photos, see how many bird photographs I've got, how many species. My target was 20. I might just be a little bit short. So I've just had 5 minutes at the bench, just looking through my pictures on my camera, and unbelievably I am exactly on 20. But the one I wanted, the dipper, got some nice pictures there, which I'll put at the end. It'd be nice to see kingfisher as well, but that wasn't to be. So there has been sections of the walk where there's been limited access alongside the river. A lot of mills, a lot of industrial mills. Some of them are still occupied and in use, a lot of them derelict. It just indicates how important this river was to the textile industry. It's been a little bit damp, not too much rain. Been very pleasant, been good to stretch the legs. So I spent most of the last 2 days sat down. So for the last 2 days I have been up at Hartlepool doing a first aid, outdoor first aid refresher with a company called SMB Training Limited and my mate Wayne. Mandy and Steve, thank you so much for making me feel so welcome, and I'll definitely be keeping in touch with you. And Wayne, thank you very much for sorting out my first aid course at such short notice. So as a mountain leader, you need a 2-day outdoor first aid ticket, and you've got to renew that every 3 years. So it's not far now before I come out of the woods. Got the River Holme over to my left, and it's not far until it joins the River Colne, and the River Holme is no more, and the River Colne then continues down to the River Colne. Another sign there for the Riverside Way. I've said it a couple of times already, but it's been very well signposted. So whoever set this, well done. So this bridge here is about as close as I can get to where the River Holme joins the River Colne. And you can just make it out up there. The River Holme joins it on the left. I'm now stood above the River Colne, but I can't get anywhere near it because of the industrial estates around it. So that's me, walk complete. Walked the full length of the River Holme. In reality I probably clocked up about 10 miles. There's been sections where I've not been able to follow the full river course, so I've had to detour away from the side of the river. I made my 20 target of different species of birds. So yeah, it's been a very pleasant walk. If you have enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, it's me signing off, and thanks for watching.